Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and I'm the owner of seasonandserveblog.com. We are getting into the late summer months and fall is just around the corner, and that means we have to think about our fall crops and fall planting. In today's video, I'm going to be sowing some seeds for the fall season, as well as harvesting my carrots that I planted way back in spring. I'll walk you through my simple step-by-step process for sowing seeds, and I'll show you all the varieties of seeds that I'm planting for the fall. So if you want to see what is going into my garden for the fall season, just keep on watching. We will be planting our fall crops in this garden bed right here, and I had a lot of things in here for the summer that's now done, such as lettuce, radishes, some onions, and broccolini. We also have lots of carrots still in this bed, and it is time to harvest them today. We will also be planting in this raised garden bed, and I'm taking out a pumpkin vine that already produced pumpkins this year, so I'm going to remove it so we can make way for more fall crops. So for this fall season, I chose to plant some Freedom cauliflower, space spinach, gypsy broccoli, kaleidoscope Swiss chard, Bronco cabbage, Melissa cabbage, some kale seeds, and some Cantonese choy. So if you're planting your fall crops from seed, you want to make sure that you plant them early enough that they can get established before the fall and winter months come. And to know when to plant them, you want to figure out what your last frost date is. And here on southern Vancouver Island, it is November 15th. Once you know that, you can count backwards from the maturity date listed on your seed packets, and the longest maturity date that I have is for this Melissa cabbage, which is 85 days. After some quick math, we can figure out that August 22nd is 85 days before November 15th. So if I'm planting this in the beginning of August, the plants will have a little bit of time to get established and turn into seedlings, and they'll have enough time to mature and produce lots of vegetables before the last frost date. So overall, it's super easy to figure out, and if you don't know your last frost date, just do a quick search on the internet to figure that out, and you will know when exactly to plant your fall crops. Now before we get to planting our fall crops, we are going to have to make some room, and we are going to harvest our carrots. I planted these back in March, and they are ready to go. So to harvest your carrots, all you want to do is grab them firmly at the base, give them a little twist, and pull them straight out of the ground. This was actually my first time growing carrots successfully, and it was really fun pulling them out to see all the different shapes and sizes that you get. So sometimes you get a nice big one, and then other times you'll get a little baby one just like this. But they're all edible and super delicious. So these are all the carrots that we harvested. These are a combination of rainbow carrots and purple carrots. And in total, after removing all of the green tops, I weighed them and we got 3 pounds of carrots, which is pretty great for a first-time harvest. Now that our carrots are harvested, we have a lot more space, and I'm going to prepare the garden bed by weeding anything that I don't want in there. And with everything cleared out, we're ready to plant. First up, I'm going to plant our Kaleidoscope Swiss chard on the very edge of the bed because I think the rainbow colors will look really nice in the fall. These are what the Swiss chard seeds look like. I've never planted Swiss chard before, so I was a little bit surprised to see that the seeds were kind of gnarly and pretty cool looking. So I'm just going to seed them pretty heavily in a row and I'll thin them out as they sprout. And next up, I'm going to plant our Freedom cauliflower, and these are what the seeds look like. They're pretty round and fairly small. So all I did here was dig 3 holes about 1/2 inch deep, and I dropped about 4 or 5 seeds in each hole. When I'm sowing seeds, I like to do multiple seeds per hole just so I can pick out the strongest looking plant and have that one grow. And if you notice this black tubing, this is our irrigation tubes. So I'm going to strategically plant our seeds directly near one of the emitter holes just to make sure that the seeds get consistent water, and this will help them grow a lot faster, especially in the late summer months when it's really hot out. So just like I did with the cauliflower, I'm going to do the same thing for our gypsy broccoli. 3 holes about 1/2 inch deep with about 4 or 5 seeds per hole. Next, I'm planting my kale seeds, and I want to have 4 plants in total, so I space them out pretty far apart because I know these plants get really big, and I'm just sowing a couple seeds per hole. Next up, I'm sowing my Cantonese choy, and I'm using all the space that I have in my garden, and I'm actually sowing it under our little A-frame trellis that we made that has our cucumbers on it. Our cucumbers didn't grow that big and bushy this year, and the Cantonese choy does like a lot of light, so I think this will be the perfect little spot for them. Unfortunately, there is no irrigation line through this area, so I'll have to make sure to water it in myself every day. And of course, whenever I'm out in the garden, Pearl has to be here with me, so this is her supervising me. Next up, I'm going to be sowing our space spinach, and spinach doesn't like a lot of heat and a lot of direct sunlight, so I'm actually going to sow it under the A-frame trellis that we also built that is currently holding our butternut squash on it. This will provide the spinach with some dappled light, which is the perfect conditions for spinach to grow in. Next, we'll move up into our other raised garden bed and get this all prepared for planting. Here I am removing a sugar pie pumpkin vine because it already produced 3 sugar pie pumpkins for us super early this year, but they look really great. And like I did in my other garden bed, I'm just removing any weeds. And on the far right side, I'm going to plant our Bronco cabbage. These are what the cabbage seeds look like. I've never planted cabbage before, so this will be a little fun experiment. I'm also strategically planting the seeds around the irrigation line just so that the cabbage plants will get consistent water. Right next to it, I'm also planting this Melissa cabbage, and this is a Savoy cabbage, so it's a little bit wrinkly. And of course, I had to try this one out because my name is Melissa, so I had to have a Melissa cabbage. And since I have a lot of things still growing in this garden bed, I don't want to lose the places where I planted the cabbage seeds, so I'm just going to mark them with some popsicle sticks. And then of course, once all the seeds are planted in, I'm just going to give everything a quick water and make sure the seeds are saturated. And that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button down below as well as the red subscribe button to see how my garden progresses over the rest of the summer and into the fall months. Also, make sure to check me out on Instagram to get garden updates more frequently, and also check out my blog for delicious garden to table recipes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.